Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of I'll Tell You What, the podcast that's all love Black history. I'm Ashley, your favorite Raconteuse, and today we're going to dive into one of my favorite kinds of stories, secret marriages. That's right. Some of our favorite celebrities throughout time have walked down the aisle without anyone ever knowing. Or maybe like a few people, but most folks, the world, the public, wouldn't know for years after the fact. And so today we're going to focus on two couples that did exactly that. Janet Jackson and René Elizondo Jr. and Chante Moore and Kadeem Hardison. Now these stories are full of love, secrecy, and a little bit of drama. So I'm going to need y'all to buckle on up. And before we get started, don't forget to subscribe on the Tube of You. And if you are loving this podcast, one, please leave a review. And if you love and you definitely love Black history, I would suggest that you support the show and join us on Patreon. Become an official Hall Runner. That way you could definitely get your Love Black History facts almost every single day. So with that being said, let's get on into it. So we all know Janet Jackson, right? She's Michael's little sister. She was Penny from Good Times and also Perfect Patty. She was the one that asked, "Oh, so you're the one doing the bending?" Now, she may not know the ethnicity of the Vice President of the United States, but what she does know is clearly her choreography and has clearly entertained us for decades. But what you might not know is how she managed to keep an entire marriage a secret for nearly 9 years. Before diving into that, though, we have to discuss who is René Elizondo Jr. Born in Mexico, René was a dancer, songwriter, and director, and he worked closely with Janet throughout the 80s and 90s. He wasn't just her husband, he was her creative partner. Together, they shaped the sound and visuals of Janet's most iconic albums like Rhythm Nation and Janet. He directed some of her music videos, including That's the Way Love Goes. And you probably remember his hands were the ones that covered her breasts in that very memorable Rolling Stones cover. So, as you can tell, these two weren't just married, they were true collaborators, definitely in sync, in pushing the boundaries of what pop music was at that time. And they were doing it together. But here's the truth. René told Jet Magazine later that they were married by a priest on March 31st, 1991, at their home in front of a few family members and close friends. But the world was only aware of their relationship. They knew that they had been dating for some time, but not really much outside of that. However, there were rumors of their marriage, and that began to surface once Janet's sisters, Rebe and LaToya, would tell the media that, yeah, they eloped, or yeah, they got married some years ago. Now, whenever Janet would have to confront this, she would frequently deny those claims. Once, she told USA Today, quote, "No, René and I are not married. We've talked about it and we're married in spirit, but we are very happy with what we have." The two of them kept their marriage so private that it wasn't until they filed for divorce in 2000, after announcing their separation the year before, that the public was truly aware that the rumors indeed this entire time were true. So, you might be wondering what happened in the first place. Why did this seemingly cohesive and extremely creative power couple end up splitting up? Well, according to various reports, there were several reasons. Some say René felt overshadowed by Janet's massive success. I mean, it is hard to compete with Janet Jackson, who came from the Jackson family. Like, come on. But others point to Janet's incredibly demanding career, which left very, very little room for a personal life. But one of the biggest reasons assumed was financially motivated. When they filed for divorce, things got messy, naturally. René sued Janet for millions, claiming he was entitled to at least half of her earnings during their marriage. And we're not talking about a little coin here or there. We are talking about, at that time, Janet was like one of the highest paid entertainers in the entire world. René argued that basically it was because of him. His contributions to her career, both creative and personal, made him deserving of some of that money, despite the fact that before they got married, they signed a prenup. Now, according to Rolling Stone, he asked for $25 million in spousal support, but eventually they would settle, and it was speculated that he received somewhere around $10 million. Now, it was a very classic case of a private couple suddenly having their very public dirty laundry aired for the entire world to see. Now, there was another secret marriage of the 90s that I'll tell you about after a quick break. If you grew up in the 90s, you probably remember Chante Moore's hit song, Chante's Got a Man, right? You know the one, Chante's got a man at home, and he's been good to me. Now, I definitely remember hearing that on the radio all the time back in the day. Little did we know, around the time that song came out, Chante was actually married to Kadeem Hardison, the actor we all loved as Dwayne Wayne from A Different World. Or if you know me, Boomer from Teenage Bounty Hunters. Their relationship started back in 1993 when they met at a party. According to Chante, she, quote, didn't want to leave his side. Then, at the NAACP Image Awards a few months later, they were paired up to present an award, and Kadeem joked that he'd tell the press that they were getting married. Well, it turned out that that wasn't much of a joke. I mean, he held her hand that entire night, and as Chante says, didn't let go. The two of them hit it off, and from that point on, their relationship blossomed. Now, even though they were seen together and included in Ebony magazine's list of top couples, they kept their relationship very, very private. So private, in fact, that when magazines were reporting on their engagement and their pregnancy, they were probably already married by then. Yeah. They secretly got married on November 17th, 1997, and by that point, they already had a 1-year-old daughter, Sophia Milan. The only reason the public even found out about their marriage was because of their 2000 divorce. It's so wild to think about how different things were back then. I mean, if this had happened today, someone would have definitely spotted them at brunch, taken a picture, and then the whole thing would have been all over Instagram. But in the 90s, they managed to keep it on the low. In fact, Jet Magazine even compared their marriage to Janet and René's because of how well both couples kept it out of the public eye. After Chante and Kadeem's divorce, their relationship stayed in the spotlight for one particular reason: their chemistry. If you remember Chante from her time on the show R&B Divas LA, you might have noticed how she and Kadeem interacted with one another. A lot of people thought that there was some flirty energy going on and maybe they would get back together. I mean, you know how folks are. One, everyone loves to speculate on some level, and people love spinning the block. I don't know why, but they really love a good spin the block story, especially when they like the couple together. But Chante was like, let me put these rumors to rest. She admitted that she would always have very fond feelings for Kadeem. She made it very clear that a romantic relationship between the two of them was not in the cards again. I mean, truthfully, sometimes people can just be cordial, be friendly, be amicable after their marriage ends. And that's just what happened between the two of them. So since their marriage ended, Chante remarried twice more, first to singer Kenny Moore in 2002, and more recently to media executive Stephen Hill in 2022. Kadeem, on the other hand, has not remarried, but he remains very close to Chante and, of course, their daughter, Sophia. They maintained a great co-parenting relationship, and, that's just something you have to applaud and respect. Now, two secret marriages, two very iconic couples in their own rights, and two stories full of love, passion, and a little bit of mystery. Whether it was Janet and Renee's creative partnership or Chante and Kadeem's whirlwind romance, these marriages show us that even in the spotlight, some things can stay private, at least for a little while. Now, if you enjoyed this episode of I'll Tell You What, make sure you subscribe to our Tube of You. And if you want more love, more Black history, you already know, like I said earlier, head over to the Patreon. It gives you a chance to support the show, and it gives you more information on these couples and so much more almost every day. Don't forget to follow us everywhere you can as well, and come back for another episode of I'll Tell You What. See you in the pews.